So being in band changed me to be a more outgoing person and to talk with people that I normally wouldn't talk with. My favorite band memory is my freshman year. I dropped my flute from the top of the bleachers in the football field, and I was so freaked out and so embarrassed by the whole situation. The flute was okay, but the next year someone did the exact same thing, and they said, "Oh my goodness, I just did the McKenna."
Being in band changed me. I became a lot more open with people than I was in the past. I used to just kind of sit in my own corner and just be by myself, but I learned it's a lot more fun to be around other people, especially when they have the same interests as me. My favorite memory in band was during Capture the Senior this year. For some reason, just no one would catch Tanner, even though they kept finding him repeatedly. So then at one point I realized that the trombones were coming up while we were sitting at the picnic table by the podium. So I said, "Tanner, there's their trombones. They'll pick you." So he runs over there, and then I just hear from across the field, just all the trombones say, "It's Tanner!" and like the happiest voice I've ever heard. And then 5 seconds later, Tanner comes back because they didn't pick him and they picked someone else instead.
Being in band changed me because it helped me find out who I am as a person. My favorite memory in band is band camp for sure. Just anything that happened in the cabins was pretty funny all the time. We saran wrapped Mario to a bunk. That's definitely number one.
Being in band changed me in the way that it helped me to grow out of my shell more, and it helped me to make more friends, good friends at that, friends that you can rely on and trust. And it just really helped me to break out of my shell more and to meet good people. And it also helped me with things like, you know, being early is being on time, and I think that will really help me in the future. My favorite memory in band was when I think it was freshman year, and I was in cabin D, and Jarrett Deming, he broke the septic tank, and we had to move cabins. And I think it's funny because I think that's like the only instance in where somebody had to move cabins, like required to.
So being in band changed me by not necessarily making me less shy or anything, but it gave me this passion that I didn't think I would ever find. I found something that I would always look forward to in the day, and something that I knew I could come to school and I'd have somebody there for me, and all that other kind of stuff. My favorite memory in band was, this one isn't funny, but senior year, so this year, on the way back to the Eagle's Nest after the bonfire, me and Drennan Neal, and he's gonna hate me for this, but he's been my brother this entire time, all 4 years, and we just started talking to each other about how much we meant to each other, and how these 4 years were the best years, being siblings, and we both ended up crying, and we hugged, and it's he's just my best friend and my brother. That I love the relationships that band has given me.
Being in band changed me in a way that it taught me to use my time better and to practice and to actually work for what you want. My favorite memory in band was at band camp this past year during a normal flute sectional. We were just practicing and Megan was giving us our critiques, and I was playing with my hair and I felt like a stick or something in my hair, and I pulled what I thought was a stick out of my hair, and I looked at my hand and it was a huge beetle. And let's just say flute sectional ended a little early that day because I had a meltdown.
Being in band changed me because it really showed me what I want to do with my life, and it showed me where I want to go with my career, and without it, I don't really know where I would be. My favorite memory in band was junior year. Me and Lauren were on our way to U of M Honors Band in Flint, and it was a really early morning rehearsal, and so on the way there, I had picked her up, and we decided to stop at McDonald's and go get breakfast. And so we picked up some pancakes and syrup, and I was driving, and at one point I looked over, and somehow she had spilled syrup all over her lap. And so she had maple syrup all over her lap. And so we got to the honors band, and we were waiting in the lobby, and we were sitting on some couches, and we were trying to scrub her pants to get rid of the maple syrup. And this guy walked by that we knew from the CMU honors band, and he was like really pretentious, and he thought that he was better than everyone and stuff like that, and he really didn't like us at the CMU honors band. And so we saw him walking by, and he walks by and he just sees us scrubbing Lauren's pants trying to get the syrup out, and it's entirely soaked, and he just gives us the most disgusted look like I've ever seen.
Being in band changed me because it showed me what it means to be a part of a group and how to strive towards a goal with other people. My favorite memory in band was when we were in sectionals my sophomore year, and we were working on Fat Bottom Girls, and we couldn't play these quarter note bass line right, and so Sir Ryan says something along the lines of, "We have to play it like you really like Fat Bottom Girls." And Beth, who was a freshman, hadn't really spoken a whole lot, and she just blurts out, "I don't sway that way," with the sassiest little attitude, and the whole room just breaks into laughter. Yeah.
Being in band changed me by making me more willing to talk to people that I don't know already, and it definitely gave me a lot of friends that I wouldn't have talked to if I hadn't been in band. When I was in middle school, I definitely had the same group of friends that I just did everything with, and now I have different groups of people that I do different activities with, and I think that's really nice. One of my favorite memories in band was during my freshman year, we had a substitute who brought in a service dog shoes training to our band class once or twice a week, just so the dog could be like exposed to noises and people and stuff. And it would just walk around during class, and I just thought that was really fun, and it was kind of made band more exciting to go to every day.
Being in band changed me by making me more on time for things, because I used to be like really late for a lot of things, and once I started with marching band, I learned that if you're late, you're in trouble, so I'm not late. Okay, my favorite memory in band was, I think it was last year, when Grace Binns broke the practice room door, and she ended up getting shut in there and couldn't get out, so she kept yelling for help, and H put a sign on the door that said, "Do not open." That was in like blue pen or marker or something. So someone walked up and in pencil wrote in parentheses, "Grace." And then once the sign was removed from the door, it was given to Grace, and she stuck it to her forehead for class.
Being in band changed me by making me more independent and work harder. My favorite memory of band was when at the bonfire when Dalton Stam gave Cole Warden a fat suit, and then he wore it at the dance.
Being in band changed me by giving me a family and a bunch of people I can lean on for help, being no matter how big or how small. My favorite memory in band was being in Cabin D and all the shenanigans that went down. I remember one night Austin was taking too long in the shower, so Mr. Swasicki went up with a cold cup of water and dumped it on him in the shower.
Being in band changed me by giving me a bunch of friends that I never thought I'd have. I still talk to people who graduated 3 years ago, which I think is really cool, and you can't find that in any other program. And it also made me dedicated to something that is more than just like a program for a couple weeks. It's something that you do year-round, which I think is really cool. My favorite memory in band was freshman year when I was with Mary Beth, my senior buddy, and Brittany Boswell and Eileen, and we were the last people at our senior freshman group activity for Force Fun, and so we were all walking back and it was pitch black, and we didn't know, Eileen and I didn't know where we were going, so we were following Mary Beth and Brittany and ended up at the boys' cabins, and then some people started yelling at us and we were like, oh my gosh, we're in the wrong place. And we were all laughing and running back to the peak, and we finally made it back there, so that's funny.
Being in band changed me by making me more outgoing, making a bunch of new friends, and also teaching me a bunch of leadership skills. My favorite memory in band was my junior year at band camp. We were getting ready to march for pregame in the circle, and Joe came up walking up to me with this big rock in his hand and didn't say anything. He just gestured me to hand out my hand, and he just set the big old boulder in my hand and just walked away with a big smile. And all of a sudden we were starting to march in the circle, and I didn't know what to do with it, so here I am with my trumpet in my hand and the boulder with the other.
Being in band changed me by being empathetic and being more sympathetic. I started to help people out more, been more social, and that allowed me to get especially closer with my brother. And I never really had a bond with any of my brothers, but once my brother Luke joined band and I got him to stay in band, it really helped. My favorite memory in band was when Jarrett and Nathan Summers came into the cabin B or A when they weren't supposed to, started saran wrapping things. I wasn't involved in it. And they saran wrapped Lucas White's bed, Albert's sleeping bag, and I think they were trying to saran wrap somebody else's bed. And then while that was all happening, Brody was sleeping and people were throwing balloons on him.
Being in bands changed me because it showed me the reality that the best way to make friends is through shared hobbies and interests. And I feel like I'm friends with at least a good majority of the people in band, and it's just showed me that you really can make friends that way. My favorite memory in band was when Cole Warden's mom, supplied me, Luke Martin, Gabe Diebold, Brendan Mortensen, and with leggings, and Luke Martin, I don't know if I said him, but with leggings, and we all went through one of the forests at band camp and beatboxed while Luke freestyled.
Being in band changed me by helping me to become a better leader. I was a section leader for 2 years, and it definitely helped me deal with people a lot better. My favorite memory in band was sophomore year. Me and Jacob Sines were in a cabin, and we were just getting our stuff put out into our bunks, and he decided to put all of my stuff in the closet. And then when I went to go get my stuff from the closet, he closed the door on me, and the door broke in half.
So being in band changed me because I was already a pretty outgoing person, but I became even more outgoing and probably figured out myself a little bit more when it came to my personality and figuring out who I want to be when I'm older. My favorite memory in band was probably my freshman year, school dance. I was trying to be cool. just learned how to do a few new moves, learned how to do the 6-step and all that. And then I decided to do the worm. And I was doing pretty good, and then I just whack. My chin hit the ground, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm fine. And then I felt my chin was a little warm, and I just went, it was a mess. Blood all the way on my hand. And we should have gotten stitches, but a few butterfly Band-Aids because we were in band camp.
Being in band changed me, how learning time management is important, and that I came out of my shell a lot more since 6th grade to now. I'm more open and closed off. My favorite memory in band was Capture the Senior. This year, Josh was hiding behind the trailer and I came around and I made some weird noise and it scared him and he fell backwards and his shoes and feet went over his head. So he was just laying on the ground, laughing.
Being in band changed me by being more outgoing. I've been able to interact with new people, different people, and it helped me just talk to people in school and in band. My favorite memory in band was playing Duck Duck Goose on the first day of band camp senior year. We were introducing each other's names, and once we were done, we all sat down and we started playing Duck Duck Goose. And once we got to me, I ran around the circle and I was slow because I'm slow. And once I picked someone, ran around, I made it. And it's just like, wow, that was the fastest I've ever seen Mario run. And that's the only time I'll ever see a girl chase after Mario.
Being in band changed me because it made me more of what I am today. It made me the fun-loving guy who wanted to, have everyone be happy and everyone feel the sense of completion of what they've done. It made me feel like I've done something with people that they might will forget for a while. My favorite memory in band was sophomore year on the bus ride back from Showcase. It was the trumpets, altos, and trombones on the same bus, and we were just singing the entire Queen show. Halfway through Fat Bottom Girls, they all forget the lyrics, and you just hear me bust in out of nowhere, okay, I gotta take this over. And everyone, Jared, Jory, and I think the other one was Zach Jork, were just staring at me just keep going, keep going, keep going, we don't know. And we hit the chorus again, it was all good. It was priceless.
Being in band changed me because I got a little bit distracted from playing my saxophone. I was a little bit of a troublemaker, but it made me more mature and more responsible. My favorite memory in band had to be freshman year when Chris Ott said he can dance really well, but he decided to do the worm at the freshman dance party and busted his chin open.
Being in band changed me because it's definitely made me a lot more social. It's so much easier to talk to new people now because I'm not a very loud, outgoing person, so it's not easy to talk to new people all the time, but it's definitely gotten a lot easier over the years. My favorite memory in band was actually the day of the Cornfest rehearsal and parade junior year, because on our SLT application a couple months earlier, it had said that there was an SLT meeting planned for that morning, but then it was never mentioned again after that. No one ever talked about it, it wasn't on any calendars, but I didn't really think much of it. So when I showed up that day, I was pretty early, so I decided to wait in my car for a few minutes for the other members to start showing up.
but they never did. There was nobody around. The only people I saw were the parents that were setting up for the picnic. And so now I'm freaking out because I have no idea where anybody is or where I'm supposed to be. So finally, I just go back in the band room, and there's like 2 or 3 other members there, and that's it. Everyone had either forgotten or they were busy or something. And even H comes out of the office and looks confused, like why the 4 of us are just randomly standing in the middle of the band room. So there really wasn't much for us to do that day. But Christina Miller was there to help or visit or something, and she'd brought her new puppy with her, so that meeting very, very quickly turned into Kara Bannister and I just playing with Christina's dog for an hour and a half.
Being in band changed me by teaching me time management skills and also how to deal with and work with difficult situations and people. It also taught me that my last name is pretty much impossible to say.
Our next exposure with Gavin,
My favorite memory in band was sophomore year in Cabin D after Capture the Senior. Everyone was wrapping up their night, everyone was getting through the shower, the last few people were in the shower, and all of a sudden you just hear a big yell from the bathroom. Out comes Josh Cook, waving at his armpits and breathing heavily as he's just walking around the cabin. It's like, "Josh, you good?" And he says, "Yeah, I put my deodorant on." "Well, I accidentally grabbed my Icy Hot stick instead."
Being in band changed me, and being more outgoing and more knowing how to play my flute and how fast my fingers need to go when playing and how my breath needs to be more consistent. My favorite memory in band was when I was in color guard. At each end of our practices, we would always play either a bonding game or just a game in general just to have fun and just relax a little bit afterwards.
Being in band changed me because not only am I a more outgoing person, but I have something that's going to affect me for the rest of my life. When I go to college or even beyond college, I could join jazz bands, community bands, really anything. I can stay involved with music for my whole life. Okay. My favorite memory in band was in jazz band last year, where H was taking a really long time with the wind players, and myself and Katie Dowd were getting really bored, so she put her hand out. And I thought she wanted me to throw a drumstick at her. So I tossed the drumstick at her, and then she just like curled up in a ball and couldn't catch it. And so it rolled off the piano, bounced off the bass drum, and rolled on the ground. And then H just stared at us for a while, and finally he said, like, "What was that?" And so like after a really long pause, I looked at him and I said, "Well, Katie was supposed to catch it," and then we just kind of laughed it off.
Being in band changed me by making me a lot more of an open person. Like before I was in band, I kind of didn't like talk to people that much, or people would have to talk to me for me to talk to them. So then being in band, like I just realized there's a group of people that I feel comfortable being around. Especially, I remember my 8th grade year, I actually thought about not staying in band, but going to band camp and then meeting all the people in the upper class actually made me decide to stay and realize I had a passion for it. My favorite memory in band was last year in Cabin B, the drumline cabin. It was Brody Blair's first year there, and I remember one morning he wouldn't wake up. Like for 5 minutes we were yelling his name. Then Albert Self just grabs the bed and starts shaking it, and he was slamming something on, I don't remember what it was, some stick, and just yelling his name, "Brody, Brody," and then he finally woke up.
Being in band changed me by giving me an outlet and a group of people that I feel really connected with and friends that I will have the rest of my life. My favorite memory in band was during jazz band sectional, and Brendan Fick all of a sudden says, "Do you guys want to go get some hash browns?" And all the upperclassmen were like, "Yeah, like let's go." And then Emily and I were just sitting there and we were like, "What? Like we're in sectional." But Brendan didn't care, so they went and got hash browns and they came back and they ate them in the choir room, and Mrs. Keenan got really mad at them.
Being in band changed me by actually earning what I do versus just taking it for granted. Like I wanted SLT and I wanted symphonic band, but it just didn't happen. So I tried and I practiced and I worked for it, and I wanted to earn it, not just like, hey, I want this, give it to me. So I guess the long story short, being a band changed me to earn things that I want to do. Favorite memory in band was, oh boy, freshman year. We were coming back from the dance, and we got there before the seniors did. We were with the rest of the cabin, and everybody was wanting to take a shower, so I went to the bathroom before I got their shower. Albert walked in as everything was closed, and he didn't know I was there because I'm a freshman, and gross freshman, don't talk to him. So he's out doing his business, and I finished up my stuff. I reach in my pocket, I'm like, hey, I've got hot cocoa powder. He's in the shower with the warm water. This could get really bad. So I emptied it up, I opened it up, snuck behind him and dumped it in the shower, ran out as fast as I could, and then I didn't know he was gonna run out after me, so he ran out of the shower with nothing on him, and he just whipped around and asked who did that, and as he was doing that, the seniors opened the door to see Albert naked in the middle of the cabin.